Hello! Hey guys! I want y'all to, as everybody jumps on, if you're on a computer and you can scroll and the video will stay there, go ahead and look down for the affirmation for this week, which is like one post below this. But before we get started, let's talk about last week. So, who did your affirmations and your I am statements? Who did those? What did you choose for your I am? And how did that go? Everyone just catch me up. So last week we talked about, we did all three affirmations, right? But we focused on the affirmation of I release all resistance to growth, which no longer serves me in a positive and productive manner. I choose to find and help those who need my products. And so that was the one we focused on, but then also the I am statement. So basically living inside of that space of, for me it was I am organized, right? Living inside the space of I am already this thing that I want to be. So what did y'all choose? And let me know what that was and let me know how it went. Could you tell the difference? Did you feel like you were getting there? Did you get frustrated at all, like you wished that you were already there but you weren't? Okay, Michelle. I was behind watching last week's video due to illness, but I do have my I am statements written and in my journal, and I've been practicing telling myself them. So Michelle, which one was the one that resonates the most with you, or which one was the one that you had the most trouble with, that you felt like, I want to be this, but I'm not sure that I am? Okay? So I had, I am worthy of massive financial abundance. Y'all probably saw that I had posted a blog last week, right before that workshop. Posted a blog that was all about, basically, that from my childhood, the fact that it was kind of a thing where it was either financial abundance or principles. You didn't really get to have both. The best people were kind of spending all of their money, giving all of their money away, and weren't really keeping any for themselves. I don't know that that's what my parents believe, but that's what I got from that. So that was one of the things that I was working through this week. So Michelle, I am a successful business entrepreneur. I am a successful business entrepreneur. Yes, successful, key, right? Business versus hobby, which is the leap that we all make at some point. And then entrepreneur really is embracing the fact that you are all things to all people. You don't just get to be the creator. You don't just get to be, you tell me what to do and I'll do it. You really have to be the visionary, and you have to be the hands-on person. And if you fully embrace that sentence, that's embracing a lot of growth on your part to say, I am willing to do whatever I need to do to make my business work, because an entrepreneur is many, many things. Anybody else? Things that you wanna talk about from last week? Breakthroughs, frustrations, anything like that before we move on? And then everybody grab your affirmation, okay? I'm going to get my Believe oil, right? So we're gonna talk tonight about, I don't know if you can see that better. We're gonna talk tonight about belief versus impatience. Belief versus impatience. I don't know if that makes total sense to y'all already, or if you're wondering why I chose it, but you'll find out. So, all right, breathe it in. I know some of y'all have other oils that you're using. You haven't gotten these yet in the mail or something like that, so grab that oil. Go ahead and breathe that in, get that into your limbic system. The irony of this oil is that it actually really reminds me of my childhood. It smells kind of like topsoil and like a pepper plant or a tomato plant, that like green leafy part. And so it reminds me of my past, and then I got to release some past stories. So, okay, so let's do this together. Give me some thumbs up, guys, if y'all are ready. I will say it once for you, and then we'll repeat it the 3 times. So it is, I release all past stories that no longer serve me in a positive and productive manner. All right? So head on your heart, hand on your head, and we're going to say this together, okay? I release all past stories that no longer serve me in a positive and productive manner. I release all past stories that no longer serve me in a positive and productive manner. I release all past stories that no longer serve me in a positive and productive manner. And then the next part is, I choose to create new and better opportunities for myself, all right? I choose to create new and better opportunities for myself. I choose to create new and better opportunities for myself. I choose to create new and better opportunities for myself. Now I believe I can create new and better opportunities for myself. I believe I can create new and better opportunities for myself. I believe I can create new and better opportunities for myself. And now manifest. I manifest creating new and better opportunities for myself. I manifest creating new and better opportunities for myself. I manifest creating new and better opportunities for myself. Okay? So we've got the oil going. We've got the affirmation. How does that make you guys feel? Does it feel exciting, new and better opportunities? Does it feel kind of scary, new and better opportunities? How does it feel to have to let go of things from the past? The thing about your past story is that if you're clinging to the past, right, it can be one of several things can happen. You can have self-doubt, can create negative patterns, self-fulfilling prophecies, limiting beliefs, regret, anger, holding grudges, lack of faith, and even present discontent if you feel like the past was better than your current situation, right? If you feel like I had a great childhood but today sucks, or that past relationship was better than this relationship, or whatever it is, you can get stuck in wishing you were back there and not embracing what's happening today. You can also, when you're holding on to the past, you get stuck in the fact that you were a disorganized kid, or you didn't have money, or you were always struggling financially. People didn't love you. People broke your heart. Whatever that is, as long as you're holding on to that, you can't move to the next step. So we have a foundation of our why, right? We believe on what we're here on earth to do. We have a why for our businesses if we have businesses, right? And we believe that we can become these better people. But in order to do that, we're being weighed down by the past and we need to let it go. Y'all give me some thumbs up if you are ready to let go of the things that you are carrying that are weighing you down. The beliefs about yourself, the stories you've told yourself, the stories other people have told yourself, the past things that were better than now. If you're ready to let go of any or all of those, then let me know, because that is what we're here for. Tonight's going to be fairly real. There's going to be lots of positive things, but I'm going to be real with y'all as well. So let me real quickly talk about why this oil. Okay, why belief? So I'm just going to read a little bit about it to you real quick, and then we'll get into the meat of this. So once we have firmly established our why, we can settle into that new space and ground ourselves. The oils in this blend set up a direct line from our grounding to the heights of our inspiration. We establish balance here and allow ourselves to release all of our past stories that no longer serve us in a positive and productive manner. So if you've read the book, The Art of War, or The Art of War for Salespeople, or The Art of War for anything, right? I only made it through like chapter 2. But in chapter 1 and 2, one of the things he says is you have to, you win a battle, you get your new, set your tents up, get your new battlements, and then you ground there. And then you take on the enemy again, and then you set up camp and you ground there. And then you take on the enemy again, and then you ground there. So you have to, we're saying I am organized, right? And then you really have to live there, and you have to let go of what's behind you, because you've just won a battle. You don't need the tents that are back there. You need to bring everything with you. All of your supplies, all of your army, everybody has got to get to this new campsite, this new battlefield, so that you can get to the next place. Does that make sense? You can't be leaving people behind just in case you end up failing and have to go back. That's not how this works. You're going to bring everybody with you. So this oil helps you believe in yourself and your mission, and it stabilizes your emotions, which this is super key. We're going to talk about this a lot. Helps you feel your strength more immediately. And if you apply it before bed or diffuse it while you're sleeping for just 7 days, you'll notice a difference. So this basically is saying the strength that you need is already here, right? And we are not going to feel, we're going to balance the yin and yang of emotions, and we're going to get grounded here. Now, this week, with the post that I'm sharing, we're going to have plenty of opportunities for you to relinquish any past stories that you feel like you need to relinquish, be they physical, mental, emotional, you know, whatever they may be, having to do with the business or not having to do with business. But what I want to focus on tonight, okay, I want to focus on what one past story is keeping you from embracing success for your goals or your business. What is keeping you from feeling that you can actually succeed, embracing success, going full force at it with passion and wisdom, okay? So this might have to do with your I am. It might be about being organized. It might be something like that. It might be the thing you worked on all last week, but I want you to be willing for it to be something different, okay? Because it might be. And everybody, again, if you're on another page, click through so I can see your comments, because we're going to start commenting now. Okay, everybody, take 10 seconds, close your eyes. Everyone close your eyes, okay? 10 seconds, and I want you to think about this. What do I believe about myself that is stopping me from becoming who I want to be? What do I believe about myself that is stopping me from becoming what I want to be? So, very first thing that pops into your head, no cheating, no second thing, no better thing, no easier thing, okay? I'm going to close my eyes too. What is the one thing, the one story that I tell myself that is stopping me from becoming who I want to be? So, one thing will pop into your head, and almost always that's the real thing, and then you come up with a maybe easier solution or a better, you know, a thing that you think you'll be able to handle better. So go ahead and just pop into the comments what it is, what is that one thing that you want to be able, that the one story that you're currently telling yourself that is keeping you from becoming what you want to be, okay? Ida says, I am not smart. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what I was saying, that it might be the same as last week, or it might be different. It might actually be at a deeper level. So Ida, you can elaborate or you can choose not to, but I am not smart. So smart is a word that could mean IQ. It could mean wisdom. It could mean like being quick on your feet, being adaptable. It could mean having people respect you. So think for a second, what do you mean by smart? Do you mean that you don't have a high enough IQ? Do you mean that you're not, that you can't come up with your own answers? Do you mean that people don't look up to you? Like, what do you mean by smart? And because that'll get deeper, and then we're going to move on to the next part here in a second. Okay, Michelle. I believe I'm not a very vocal person, which keeps me from engaging with others and customers on a genuine level. Okay. So Michelle, I want you to think about, real quick, about being vocal. What does that mean to you? Okay. Does that mean talking a lot? Or does it mean speaking up for yourself? Or does it mean like cutting through other people when they're speaking? And then what do you mean by genuine? Okay, do you mean not saying anything, not standing up for yourself, not telling things that are not true because you want the person to like you? Like, what do you mean by those two things, vocal and genuine? Okay, and then we're gonna do part. Anybody else, as you jump in, you can write down your thing, but we're gonna do the second part. Okay, the second part is. Close your eyes again. When was the first time that you felt this way or believed this about yourself? When was the first time that you felt this way or believed this about yourself? Okay? The first time you felt this way or believed this about yourself. And I want you to type in the age that you were, when you can remember the first time. You can give me specifics if you want to, but an age that you can remember that. Okay, Ida, it's IQ. Okay, so when was the first time that you felt like that you weren't IQ smart? Okay, so what do we have? What's the earliest age? Michelle, I'm not very outspoken, shy sometimes, and I feel I can't be myself around others and have to act like I can connect with their life and not really show myself. I was about 15. Okay. Ida, when you were 17 and you left high school. Okay, so now these are perfect examples because what they show are these are ways that you feel as an adult. But we're going to go back to an earlier age, okay? A younger age when you felt this way. Because psychological studies say that most of our beliefs about life and about ourselves are actually formed between birth and age 7. Most of the times we actually believe something about ourselves by age 7, and that's before our logical brain has fully developed. So those are the really sticky ones that get us into a negative cycle because they are pre-logic, deeper than logic. And so those, if it's something that's from that far away, that long ago, that's what's really going to be troublesome. So I'm going to give you two seconds. I want you to think if there's an earlier time that you felt that way. And Martha, you said I was 3 when I first felt like I'm not doing it right. Okay, so like there's a right way and a wrong way to be doing it, and like you're not doing that, right? So you've got yours at 3. And I'm not going to ask y'all necessarily to tell me the whole story here, right? But I do want you to think for a second about what is that actual story. For everybody who's just jumping on, hi Olivia. If you're just jumping on, what we're doing is we're going through, taking a few seconds and thinking, what do I believe about myself that is stopping me from being who I want to be, from finding success? What do I believe about myself? And when is the first time, as young as you can go back, that you believe this? So Michelle and Ida, do y'all have a younger one? I haven't thought through this myself, so it's going to be hard for me. I may have to sit quietly and not be talking at y'all to really think through this. But I know that I do not think that I am independent. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but that's the sentence that's coming to me. I like working in groups. I like working with people. I like bouncing my strengths off of other people's strengths, the whole music thing. I didn't love being a soloist as much as I loved playing with a group. And I think that goes back to if I'm surrounded by people that I can shine and I can play off of them, but if I'm by myself, then everyone's paying attention to me, and then my faults are more visible, right? You can kind of hide in a crowd and people can think, oh, y'all did a great job. Everybody did a great job, and I'm part of everybody. But if it's just me, that it's only about me, and that's more scary. And so as a business owner, right, knowing that everything comes down to me, there's not a part of the business that I'm not responsible for. That's the whole organization thing. If I work for a company, somebody else can be organized and I can be creative. But I'm having to grow so that I expand to fill all of those different roles. And that's really what I'm learning this month. So I'm going to have to think longer about how far back that goes. But Michelle says, wow, and I never thought until now. It probably stems back to when I started school at 5. I wasn't like other kids because my dad died when I was 3 and my mom didn't remarry. I was the only child who didn't have 2 parents, so I had issues connecting with other kids at that age also. And isn't that amazing, Michelle? Because today you would be the normal kid, right, with only one parent. The uniqueness, the thing that makes you feel different, is based on a scenario that is so standard now. But because it's pre-logic, you carry that forward, right? Because you didn't think about, I only had one parent and therefore I'm different and therefore I have trouble connecting. You didn't go through that process. It just happened. And so that, if you don't think about it, it keeps you from being able to say, well, that doesn't actually make any sense, right? So that's the sticky thing. That's what makes it so tricky, is the fact that it's pre-logic. It's deeper than logic. You know, it just is. And so how do you fix something that is deeper than logic? Okay, you fix something that is deeper than logic with something else, counteracting it with something else that is deeper than logic. And what would that be? That, to me, is love. Okay, the wonderful 4-letter word, love. So I want you to think about every good thing that you have in your life right now. Every single good thing that you have. It could be tiny, it could be giant. And I want you to write that down, or maybe type a few in, but somewhere write all the great things you have in your life. Michelle, never once have I ever connected that with how I feel and act today. It's amazing. It really is amazing how young that starts. So write down everything that you have in your life that's wonderful, right? I have an apartment. I have supplies for my business. I have lots of instruments. I can sing. I have friends. I have a wonderful boyfriend. He cooks delicious food. So all of those things, right? I mean, and even if you're having a crappy day, you could at least say, I've got a book that I could go read, right? There is something good that you have in your life. And the thing is, you have all of those things despite how you feel about yourself. You have every single good thing that you have in your life. You have, even though you think this negative thought about yourself. Even though I think I'm not independent, I still have plenty of things in my life. Even though, Michelle, you feel that you have trouble connecting, you still have plenty of wonderful things in your life. Ida, even though you feel that you're not smart enough, you still have wonderful things, right? Martha, even though you think you're not doing it right, you still have wonderful things. So now I want you to think about other people that you love a lot. And do those other people have faults that you see? And do those other people also have things that they believe about themselves that you know are not true, right? It's easy to think of people's faults. It's a little bit harder to be imaginative and think about other things that people don't think about themselves but you believe are true, right? I know, for me, it's easier because now I'm in the business of this, of hearing people, of being a listener and hearing people be honest with me about what is going on in their life, right? So that I see a lot of wonderful people who have a lot of insecurities, because we all do, and I'm a little bit more privy to that, but everybody in your life has insecurities. Martha says, apartment, good job, wonderful friend to collaborate fashion design projects, and your cat. See, all wonderful things, and no matter how much you think you're screwing it up, you still have those things, okay? So those people that you love, that have faults that you see and faults that they see, do you love them any less? Does that keep you from loving them? And then sometimes, does it not make you love them more that they don't see themselves as beautiful as they are? They don't see themselves as talented as they are. Doesn't that make you want to give them more love and support so that they can see the wonderful things about them that they just have trouble seeing, right? Anyone feel that? When you see somebody not believing in themselves, that you just want to say, but you're wonderful, you're wonderful. How can you not see this? We're going to get you there, right? And if you're doing that for other people, I want you to mentally go find a mirror and turn that around on yourself, okay? If you believe in other people, despite what they say about themselves, you need to turn that on yourself, and you need to be willing to let go of that insecurity so that you can move onward and upward, right? And the beautiful thing about this is that this is really a cycle. The more you love yourself, the more love you have to give to other people. The more you love other people, the more love you get in return. That gives you grace to love yourself, and you love other people, and it just keeps going and going and going like that, right? So it's not, I said this last week and the week before as well, but we get so caught up in thinking that loving ourselves is taking away from our job of taking care of other people. That being kind to ourselves, that being true to ourselves, that supporting ourselves is taking away from giving to other people, but it is not. It is absolutely 100% the most important thing that you can do to love yourself and believe in yourself and know your strengths and know your weaknesses. Love yourself despite your weaknesses. Work around them, grow them, do whatever you have to, and be so bold with the strength that you have that you can give it to anybody and everybody that you see, right? That is how this works. You were put here for a reason, and if you were too busy thinking, I can't talk to them, I can't connect with them, how will they ever see the wonderful thing that you have to give to the world, right? If you're too busy, it's so fun. I keep wanting to use the example of thinking I'm not pretty enough because I spent like 25 years of my life. Well, that's not true, because it was probably like third grade I got ugly. You know, everybody gets ugly for a while as you grow. And it wasn't until like 25, 26, 27 that I finally just like, I don't even care anymore. I'm just so over not thinking I'm beautiful. But y'all, I was fat. I've got crooked teeth. My face is asymmetrical. I'm not photogenic. But it doesn't, none of that matters. People still loved me. People were still attracted to me. Somebody still married me, right? People still wanted to work with me. I was still a fantastic flute player. I still sing well. I'm still smart. All of those things. But I honestly, genuinely, 100% thought when I was in middle school, I wanted to be a singer. And I thought I couldn't do it because I was too ugly. I thought nobody is going to come to my concert because I am hideous. And so I didn't do it. I didn't tell my parents that. I didn't say I don't want to be a singer because I'm too ugly, right? But no matter what you think about yourself, somebody else is out there thinking the same thing about themselves. Somebody is out there hurt and broken and feeling like they're not good enough. And so you just got to set the example of saying, there are so many wonderful things about me that whatever this little thing is, we can either work around it or we can work with it. But it is just not worth dragging me down. It is not worth thinking I'm too chubby to be a singer. I mean, Adele, hello, I could have been Adele, right? Like the alternate universe here, but there are people who have the exact same issue that you have and are making it work. And so that's what we're getting you to be the person that is making it work and is turning that in your favor even, right? Okay. Whew, I preached a little bit. So I'm gonna rein us back in now for a second. I'm gonna rein us back in. So how does this apply? How does all of this stuff, this personal stuff, apply to your goals and to your business? And what in heaven's name does it have to do with belief versus impatience, right? I've built this as belief versus impatience. And right now all I'm talking about is limiting beliefs. Here's the thing. The way that you feel about yourself is going to make you act in one or two ways. So think about your thing. Think about your negative story you tell yourself, your limiting belief, and tell me, does it make you feel like this list? Like you have inertia, low self-esteem, depression, skepticism, inability to let go, apprehension, okay, I could go on and on. Or does that belief make you feel impatient, self-protective, maybe even arrogant, restless, rash? Do you have a lack of commitment, that you're discontent with your current situation? Are either one of those true for you guys? I want you to tell me, list one or list two. List one, inertia, low self-esteem, depression, skepticism, inability to let go, apprehension. List two, impatience, self-protective, restlessness, rashness, lack of commitment, and discontent. Okay? Now, I'm going to use another example while y'all decide. Tell me list one or list two. That I was realizing today, this whole thing about organization for me, right? I was saying I am organized. I am organized. And let me not just be a big mess of chaos, because that's the way I was feeling. I was feeling impatient, restless, rash, lack of commitment, wanting to be farther ahead than I am, right? Like getting to a goal, but then wanting to go ahead and start on the next goal rather than celebrating. And I realized that the reason I was feeling that way was because I've had years of my life where, so I was a creative kid, and then I discovered that to be successful in high school was to have all A's, so I did that. Then to get a scholarship, then to go to college, then to get married, then to get a job. And I did all of these things. And then while I was married, I was the breadwinner. I did the taxes. I didn't do the taxes. That was the only thing. I cooked dinner. I kept track of our finances. I was the logic person. I stopped us from making dumb decisions. I planned trips. I did like everything, right? That I was just like regimented. I was just trying to keep it all together. And I lost my soul in all of that. I wasn't able to be creative. I was frustrated. I was sad and all of these things. So now that I'm at a moment in my life where I get to be creative, there's a part of me that doesn't want to go back to being organized. It doesn't want to go back to being left-brained. It doesn't want to go back to being realistic. It just wants to live in the land of creating. And the thing that I realized today is that's why I'm feeling this list too. I'm feeling impatient because being wise would makes me feel like I'm going back to that place I don't want to be in, that past story of my past relationship, right? So for you guys who are telling me, Michelle and Martha, that you're feeling like you're in list 1, okay? So you're in the inertia category, the paralysis by analysis category. You're in the low self-esteem versus the impatient, can't wait for things to happen category, okay? In the middle of these, right smack dab in the middle of this, is true belief in yourself, your goals, your business. Neither one of those other things are good. Where we want to be is right in the middle. So tell me, would y'all rather feel that you have belief, balance, that you're grounded, passionate, focused, content, sure, patient, peaceful, purposeful, rational, and wise? How does that list sound? Right? Who doesn't want to be peaceful, purposeful, rational, and wise? So we're going to get there. Okay? I'm going to pull you, if you're in the inertia category, we're going to pull you forward. If you're like me and you're in the impatient category, we're going to have to rein it in a bit. So last week we talked about cognitive dissonance, okay? And if you missed that, what cognitive dissonance means is your brain is built where it wants your thoughts to equal reality, okay? So if you think to yourself, I'm sick, oh, I feel so sick, then your brain says, all right, well, we want to be sick, let's make it happen. And then your cold hits you, right? Once you admit, oh my God, okay, fine, I really have a cold, then you get sick more easily. On the same way, if you admit to yourself, if you say to yourself, I am organized, your brain says, wait, are we organized? Nobody told me we were organized. Okay, I guess we're organized. And your brain is trying to get there. Your brain is doing whatever it can. That's its job, to get you to organized, okay? So the point is that we're going to use this cognitive dissonance in our favor. Now, here's where I'm going to be real with you for a minute. Give me some thumbs up if you read the blog that I posted. The blog that was called, Are You Waiting to Hit Rock Bottom? Okay? So I wrote this blog because we're working on self-confidence. I am confident that any of you guys, no matter where you are, I can get you to success. I can get you to your goals. I can get you to business success, personal success. We can get there together. I have no doubt about that. Two brains are better than one, and I have this weird ability to take a word that you're saying and parse it and pull it apart and get to the thing you didn't even know you were thinking, right? That's my gift. I believe in it. I'm totally confident in it. And because of my confidence, right, I talk to a lot of people about it. I have a lot of people come to me with their issues. They're interested in coaching. They do a coaching session, whatever. And then, since this week, since I have been focusing on confidence, I have run into more people who are just not ready to be helped. There have been so many of you guys who are doing fantastically well, who are making strides, who are doing wonderfully, and I do not want to take away from that at all, but all of you have this little piece in you that's feeling this way. But there are some of you guys that watch these videos who, whenever we get down to it, you're like, but I can't, but I don't have money for coaching. And if I say, well, let me tell you what you can do that's not paying me for coaching, let me give you all of this free stuff, these affirmations you can do, and then you say, well, I don't have time. But I don't have patience. I'm too busy. I don't have energy, whatever it is, making excuses. I have gotten more of that this week than I feel like in the entire past year combined, okay? And that made me stop and say, what is going on here? And the thing is that you are waiting to hit rock bottom just like I was 2.5 years ago with all my health issues, my confidence issues, my bad relationship. I was just getting it from all sides, literally, until I just said, I cannot take it anymore. Something has to change. And from that point, I changed a little bit after a little bit after a little bit until my life today looks 0% like it looked 2.5 years ago. And I thought that was because I hit rock bottom, but the thing is, it was only rock bottom because I defined it that way. Does that make sense? You only know it's rock bottom when you turn around and you say, boy, that was as far down as I'm going ever again. So, you do not have to wait for it. It is now. It is the moment that you say, enough is enough. It is the moment that you say, I don't care if I have to crawl out of here. I am going to crawl. All right? So it is not about saying, I'm going to wait until I wake up one day and it's all sunshine and roses. I'm going to wait until I'm ready. I don't think I'm ready. I don't think I have it in me. I don't think I can be positive. I can't do it. Erin says I can do it, but I just can't be positive. I try and then I fail. That's not what I'm talking about. And I'm not talking about trying it and then feeling like you're doing great for a week and then something happens and you say, see, but it didn't work. I got organized, things fell apart. I just wasn't ready. I'm just going to have to wait until I'm ready. This is not about waiting until you've got it all together, and it is not about trying and then failing. That's inertia, and that is lack of patience. And that is how I realized over this past week from what was happening that not only was there impatience, which I was experiencing, but there was inertia, which other people were experiencing. They're waiting for something to happen when you have to do it, okay? And so that is how we're going to get into this middle of belief. So I want you to commit to me that if you have to crawl, you will crawl. This is just realizing one day at a time that it's a journey of one day at a time, one step at a time, deciding today is the day to begin fighting back against your fear and your negativity, and it's the day to refuse to settle. You do not have to settle for any less than what you want anymore, okay? And it's the first day of your better life. Whatever the rock bottom is, you define it. Give me some thumbs up if you feel me on this. Now, you may already, like I said, all of you guys watching this, you may not be the people that I'm necessarily talking to. You may have moved on to the next step, but I want to tell you, once we get to this next level of transformation, we're going to have to do this all over again. And you're going to feel like, I'm feeling good about here, but I don't think I can get to the next level. Then you're going to finally make it, and you're going to say, I'm feeling good about here, but I just don't think I can get all the way up here. This happens over and over and over again, and you have to decide that now is the moment that I'm going to do whatever it takes. It's about consistency, and it's about patience, right? Waking up every day and saying, today I'm going to do it a little bit better. Today I'm going to do a little bit better. And so I wrote down here in my notes that it struck me that some of you guys think that I either have it all together, I've got it all figured out, or that I think I do. That I really think that I have the answer to the universe. What I do know, which is not that, what I do know is that if I wake up every day and I work to be a little bit better than I was yesterday, if I'm willing to experience growing pains to get to the next level, then I will get there. That is what I know. I know that if I put in the effort, then I get the reward. If I don't put in the effort, and if I just say, I'm just going to stay here because it's easier, that's exactly what happens, right? That you get from the universe whatever you give. That's all I know, and I'm just here to help you guys make it happen and not forget how important that is. It's about expansion. It's about, here's me. Here was me 2 years ago, right? Like this little tiny thing. And then a year ago, and then maybe today, but I know that there is a me that is this. I know there's a me that you can't even see in this screen. That's my potential, just like your potential. And whether or not you think that you're here, or you think you're here, or you think you're already off the screen, how many more years do you have to live, and how much bigger can you get in that time? How much space can you take up, And in that space that you've taken up, you're giving the world love, respect, creativity, positivity, right? All of the space of the universe that you take up, you get to control what's in that. And so you get to give more and more and more and more back to the world the larger of a space that you take up. And I'm telling you, you do not have to settle for this. You do not have to say, I can't talk to people, so I have to settle for this. I can't do it right, so I have to settle for this. I'm not smart, so I have to settle for this. I'm not beautiful, so I have to settle for this. I'm not patient, so I have to. No, you do not. Because you can be those things. You can be better. You will be better, and you will take up more space. Okay? So, now it's your moment to give me your excuses. Why can't you work on growing a little bit at a time? Why do you feel like this is not you? And I don't care how on board you are with me. If you're 100% on board, if we already have coaching calls every week, I don't care. I want you, whatever the sneaking thing is in the back of your head, and I'll give you one of mine too. What is it that is saying that, but this is not me. I can't do that. I can't be here. Okay? What's your excuse? And I'm gonna get rid of it for you. I'm gonna give you a second to think of it, and I'll think of mine. And you try and stump the band, and you try and tell me something that I can't fix. The one that I was realizing today that I'm going to work on all week is I can't be both creative and rational. That I think that there are two parts of myself, one that is rational and one that is creative. And even though I really do believe that my brain, my left and my right brain function well together, that I feel like every time I start to get organized, I lose the ability to create. I believe that's a limiting belief. And so I feel like, how am I going to run a creative business and do the business part too? So I'm the one coming up with it, and I got to give myself the answer. The answer is that every day, as I organize and as I create, I will be disproving my theory, and I will also be strengthening the connection between my left and right brain. What I will be doing by trying to do both, and having creative customers that need me, but also having to manage the financial side, I will be strengthening the muscle of connection between those two things. All right? So who's got one? Michelle. Okay. Let me see if I can read the whole thing here. Up until our mentor call last week, my excuse was I'm too busy in life to do everything. But since then, I've been working harder on changing that, and things have been going nowhere but upwards. And it is a great feeling. Things have been going nowhere but upwards, and it is a great feeling. Okay, so you thought you're too busy in life to do everything. The beautiful thing is you only have to do one thing at a time, right? And then if you realize, if you start with the most important thing, if you say this morning, I got an order, so I got to get it out. Or this morning, I've got, you know what, I'm tired of putting it off. I have got to learn how to use my camera. I'm doing that today. Whatever's the most important. And if you do your list and level of importance, by the time you get down here, if you don't get it done, it's not such a big deal. Whereas, if you just say, I have all of these things, and I can't even take a minute to even think about which one I'm going to do, and you go do unimportant thing after unimportant thing after unimportant thing, then you don't have time to actually get the order out, or you don't have time to work on your website or the thing you really need to focus on. Yes, then your life is too busy, right? But not if you take a moment, believe in yourself, and start from the right place. Okay, and then Michelle, I keep telling myself the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Absolutely. How do you eat an elephant? How do you conquer the world? One country at a time, right? How do you take over the universe? One world at a time, right? So yes, one thing at a time, and prioritize as much as you can. I still have not figured out Pinterest. Like, I did it a while ago, and I know I really need to do it, but it's just not, it keeps being at the bottom of my list and not getting done. And I know it's a thing that I'm not doing and could grow my business, but I have all this other stuff that I need to take care of, and I'm okay with that. But there will come a moment when I have time for Pinterest, and when that will get absorbed, because I will have expanded. I will have gotten these things under control and running smoothly, and I have time for some more stuff. So it's like I have these things in the wings that I can pull out when I'm ready for them. Ida, I have too many out-of-control hormones. Oh, Ida. So, first of all, Hormones can be controlled many ways. And we have talked about finances, we've talked about the oils, and you have your list of oils that you want to get, right? And the thing is that you're frustrated about not being able to get the oils, and I think that you're using that as an excuse. Because you can also control hormones from food you're eating. You got to buy the food anyway, right? You have to buy the food. So we could have a conversation about what foods are going to help you align your hormones, keep you from having highs and lows, and what aren't. And you could work on that. Or sleep is your adrenal gland, which is the first key thing to getting your hormones in line. So whatever we need to do to get you better rest would be a place to start to control your hormones. So if I had you buy one oil, as we've talked about, it would be lavender, because that would help you sleep. But even if it's not that, we could give you an affirmation to say at bedtime, right? We could give you something to say that will get you into a state an hour before that you stop doing your computer stuff and you do something else. You do a book, you do something with your kids, whatever it is. We can get it to where you can control that one thing, control the one thing of how much do I sleep, and then allow that to make it easier for you to keep the hormones in control, right? So the whole thing, both of these answers, it's basically baby steps. It's the fact that you think that I have to be able to do everything. Erin is saying I need to change my life. Well, I have out of control hormones. I don't have enough money. I don't have good product photography. I'm not organized. People don't like me. I can't talk to people. I'm not pretty. And that's like 7 things that I have to worry about right now. No, you don't. You have to worry about the one that is stopping you from taking step 1, right? And that is the one that we have to deal with. We have to deal with step 1. We do not have to deal with step 4, 5, or 6. So, any other excuses, or does that fix it? Just step 1, one at a time, 1 bite at a time, 1 step at a time. Letting go of one thing at a time. You don't have to let go of every single negative past story. I've talked about this before when we talked about releasing fear, right? Breaking through fear. The fear is like an onion. You peel it off a layer at a time. So if you are ready to let go of the fact that you don't have a high enough IQ, right? First of all, a high IQ does not mean that you are going to necessarily get anywhere in life. I was my high school... this is a long story, salutatorian, almost valedictorian, because I refused to take a class that they wanted me to take. And I was voted most likely to succeed. And for 10 years of my life, I woke up every day thinking I'm getting old and I haven't succeeded yet. And they said that I was going to, and I'm going to be a failure. That was like one of the worst things that somebody could do, was tell me that I'm the most likely to succeed. That's so stupid. And now as an adult, I realize how silly that was for people to be giving people that title is just bizarre to me. But also, for me to let that affect me was just so silly. It's like anything that we believe that is just untrue. You do not have to have a high IQ to do well. You don't have to do well in school. Einstein, hello. Who was it? Like all of the American authors dropped out of school, like Doug Cole, and did all of this crazy stuff. Most people who do startups, those computer startups, are all people who got out of school because they were like, well, this is dumb. I'm just going to go do this thing. I don't care about English literature. So it's easier for other people to see that. It's harder for us to accept it about ourselves. I 100% understand that. But whatever it is that you think is your issue, I bet you could Google famous people with a low IQ. Famous people who were shy. Famous people who are ugly, famous people who are fat, famous people who are disorganized, famous people who are blank. And I bet you would get a giant list of famous and successful people who are exactly the thing about you that you are worried about. Can I get an amen on that? That is just how it is. There are people out there who are making it work. Famous people with stutters, right? Who's the singer whose name I'm now going to forget, who has a stutter and, talks about working through that and how he became famous anyway. I don't know, I mean, not that having a stutter makes you famous, but he could have said, I can never be famous. All right. Here's the reason that I'm telling you can do this, because I have seen it happen. I've seen people dig their way out of holes. I dug myself out of a hole. I had people help dig me out of the hole. And even if you have to crawl out of the hole, if you eventually get out of the hole, then you can use the fight and the determination that you used to get out of that hole, and you will be unstoppable. That whatever it takes to overcome these things that you think are unovercomable, once you have learned all of the fight and determination that you need to overcome those, now everything else is a piece of cake. You can take on the entire world. Once you realize you can be shy and famous, that's it. Once you realize you can have a stutter and still be successful, that's it. So, but you've got to work yourself past that big, deep thing that is holding you back. And then each next thing that is holding you back is less scary because you've done it before. Does this make sense? Step one is and always will be the hardest step. Once you get past step one, step two is not that easy, but it's not as hard as step one was. By the time you get to step 3, 4, 5, 6, 14, 15, they are getting easier and easier because you have some past success behind you. So this is what we're going to do this week. I talked about using cognitive dissonance to our advantage, right? Okay. So you have your thing that you feel that is not good enough about you, the negative story you're telling yourself, you know, the thing that you think is going to keep you from being successful. You have that, right? We talked about that. We wrote it down. This is going to crop up this week, and I hope for your sake it crops up a lot. I know that that sounds mean, but I hope it happens to you all week long. I hope that I struggle between my left and my right brain all week long, and I work through this. Every time that you feel resistant, inertia, or you feel frustrated and impatient because of this thing, I want you to recognize it. There's going to be 3 R's here. Recognize it, release it, and replace it with something else. Okay? So, this is going to be your homework. Every time you feel, I'm not smart enough, I want you to know that you're doing it. That is step 1. Recognize it's happening. I want you to release it. I want you to say, I release the thought that I am not smart enough, which no longer serves me in a positive and productive manner. I release the belief that I am not smart enough, which no longer serves me in a positive and productive manner. I choose what? What would it be? So, what's a thing that I would say thinking outside of the box, Ida, would be one of your fantastic things that a lot of IQ people do not have. They understand rules and they understand math and all that stuff, but they can't think outside the box. I would say I choose to embrace my ability to think outside the box. I choose to embrace my ability to think out the box. I believe I can think outside of the box. I believe I manifest thinking outside of the box. And so you're replacing the thing that you think is wrong with you with the thing that is actually great about you, okay? So, Michelle, if you feel like I can't connect with people, right, I'm shy, I want you to think about either it's that once you get past that, it is easier to connect with people you know. It might be that, or it might be that you're a fantastic listener. So it might be, I recognize that I am nervous about meeting these people, about putting myself out there, right? So I release my fear of interacting with people. I release this belief that I am too shy to interact with people. I choose to listen, understand, and use what they're telling me to benefit my business. How much can you learn about a business by just listening to what your customers have to say? By creating questionnaires? By putting posts where you say, hey guys, tell me XYZ. What's going on? How much can you listen to people and grow your business through being the great listener that you are versus being a big talker, right? Does that make sense? So you might think that you have this huge weakness, but on the other side of that huge weakness is a giant strength. And we need for you to believe in that strength, and the more that you believe in that strength, the less this other thing will matter, and you may actually realize it's just not true anymore, right? Okay? So can y'all do that for me? I need some thumbs up if y'all can do that for me. I want you to write it down. Recognize, release, and replace. I release this thing which no longer serves me in a positive and productive manner. I choose, I believe, I manifest the thing that you want. Okay? And so what you're doing is anytime that you feel inertia, anytime that you feel impatient, you're using belief to balance you out, to get you back in a space that you can control. You can control recognizing it. You can control releasing it. You can control replacing it. You can't yet control feeling it. I'm not saying that you need to never feel that that you're not smart enough, or that you're not beautiful enough, or that you're not creative enough. I'm not saying you stop feeling that way. You're going to feel that way. That's all there is to it. I'm going to feel disorganized. But we need to pull it into the space you can control, where you recognize, replace, and release. And that is something that you can feel good about, and then just move on. And then the next time it happens, recognize, release, replace again. The next time it happens, and you do that, then it starts to be where every time this happens, it's immediate. And you just work through it. You work through it until you discover it's not even an issue anymore, and now I've got the next chunk of the elephant to take on. So I'm going to send out probably a little template. Y'all let me know if that would help. If that would help if I give you some space to write that down, right, for recognizing, releasing, and replacing. I think that might be helpful for this week. But that's your homework. Does anyone feel still confused about belief versus impatience, right? I should have titled it belief versus inertia and impatience, but I hadn't realized the inertia part yet. So fortunately I have now. But y'all tell me if you have any questions. Let me know. If you watch this back later, let me know if you're still confused. But basically what I'm saying is, if you're letting your past stories speak to you and define you, then you are going to get out of balance. You're going to either feel that I can't do it, or I tried and it didn't happen. And I need you to stay in the space that you can control. If you believe that you have the ability to do the 3 R's, if you believe that you have the ability to recognize, release, and replace, that's all I need from you. That's all I need, is the ability to at least twice a day realize you're doing it. And then the next day, 3 times when you do it, realize it and do it. And this is how I started my entire journey. I'm going to be entirely honest with you. It was realizing, I didn't really mean to do this, but I'm wearing the necklace, the aquamarine. That's the first one that I wrapped. I wrapped that when I finally believed my doctor when she said I needed to reduce stress in order to solve my thyroid issues, okay? And anytime somebody would stress me out at work, yell at me, make me mad, relationship stuff, I would just say, you are not more important than my health. You are not more important than my health. You are not more important than my health. And I didn't even understand what that was at the time. I didn't know affirmations. I didn't know releasing. I just knew that's how important this was. And I couldn't control feeling stressed, but I could control my reaction to it. And that's where we start, okay? So we are after 10 o'clock. Thank you, everybody who joined in, everybody who lasted the whole time. You're all wonderful. I hope that I do not scare you away when I get passionate and I tell you that it's going to be hard. It will be hard. As these things crop up during the week, they may crop up more. You may feel this tension more because you're recognizing it. That is okay. If you have a crappy week because you're seeing this about yourself more and more, that is a growing pain, and you need to embrace it and know that on the other side of that is something beautiful. So I'm always around for 30 minutes after these. Message me if you have questions. Message me if you still feel the inertia, you still feel the impatience, and I'll give you your own, specific, just for you, tailored thing for you to do this week. But I really think if you just do the 3 R's, we're going to get there. And then next week, we are going to be talking about magnifying your purpose, honing in, and expanding your purpose. And that one is going to be where it gets really cool and fun. But I just need you all to do the homework for this week. So thank you. I love you. You're wonderful. Every single time you take a baby step, I see it. I promise I do, even if I'm ragging on you guys for your inertia right now. I see them. I am so proud of you. I'm proud of me every time I do it. And I think that having pride in yourself, even if it's baby steps, is super important. So congratulate yourselves. Have some hot chocolate. Have a glass of wine. Tell yourself you're wonderful. Have a lovely evening. And then we will do this again next week, all right? So y'all have a good night, and I will talk to y'all later, all right? Bye.